Oops. I guess you can't change that on here. But you can on here. TNN. I guess you can't do that on YouTube. I'm not sure. I'll figure it out though. Oh, we're doing it again. Let me know if my light jazz is a little too loud. Yesterday I was on here for like 4 hours up until like midnight, and it was great. I didn't have a whole lot going on. And that way I can still see the words. I've got TikTok on this side, and hopefully now everything, when you read, everything's the right way. It's not backwards. I've got TikTok on this side, and I've got YouTube on the other side. Just hanging out in the shop here at AuxAuto, the nonprofit that provides financial mechanical assistance to people that depend on their transportation for getting through life. I basically pay the shop bills for people that can't afford to make their vehicles safe or operational. And then I just hang out here and talk on TikTok. I talk on TikTok. TikTok talk. TikTok talk. 327 turbo fire. That's a fantastic automobile. It's a little... Oh, I can. So last night I got on here. Didn't have a whole lot going on, I'll be honest with you. And eventually I'll go over there and I'll show some of the cars. But I just turned this on. We'll see who hangs out. And then maybe I'll start them up. But I do like showcasing is what I call them. Showcasing vehicles. But I try to get... I'm not interesting enough, so I wear a this cool jacket. So people, maybe they're thumbing through and they're like, oh, that's a cool jacket, or that's a cool car. That's a cool 300. That's a cool Charger. That's a cool truck, or that's a cool Corvette, or that's a cool Roadrunner. And then they hang out for a little bit, and then I tell them about my automotive nonprofit, and then I try to promote it. I try to get people to subscribe and hang out, and then eventually I can fix as many people's vehicles as possible. Yeah, so there's actually a Corvette back here. It's dark, but you can't see it, but it's not mine. It's one of it's kind of a donation to my automotive nonprofit, but we're still figuring out what to do with it. And yesterday I was doing this, and I would love to buy a wedge motor. Yesterday I was doing this, and when I talked to Mo Parquet, she was on here for a little bit, and I really was considering using this Corvette and turning it into a drag car. I'm not sure if you can see that back there. It's kind of dark. I don't have a light. I've got the lights in the shop dimmed. I got this smooth jazz playing. Hanging out here talking about cars and life on AuxAuto's TikTok and YouTube channel. I will try to do that. Jake. I got 4 folks over here on YouTube. A couple hundred here over on TikTok. TikTok seems to be kind of taken over. I don't know if anybody's old enough to remember the MySpace v Facebook days. I certainly am. But it just seems like they're open to more opportunities for people to be able to pursue their side hustles, I guess. I think YouTube needs to step up their game. Opinion on people saying LS is a ripoff of small block. Is this supposed to be Dodge? Either way, I mean, if you look at it from a, I do what I can, Mud. Look at it from a music perspective. Everything's pretty much ripped off from somebody else. And Thomas Edison ripped off his, a lot of his stuff from Tesla, so. Inspired by would probably be more accurate. I grew up a GM kid. There was that Jake. I don't know a whole lot about LS's, but it's just like anything else though. I'm pretty sure that at some point there's a version of it that the money you put into is probably going to be worth it. I don't know about the Mercury Cyclone. I mean, didn't everybody copy Ford, though? If it wasn't for Ford, there'd be no Dodge. Although I'm pretty sure Louis Chevrolet set out on his own. Awesome. Awesomeness. Awesome. I can't read it because it's so far away. But I tell you why. It's because I'm a lot older than I used to be, and that's why. For years and years, I dreamed of having a place where I could do all of my endeavors and my side projects. Is that Gina? Gina, the brawler. Yesterday I went live, Gina. I'll get back to you in a minute there, sir. But I was explaining to somebody, because there was somebody else on here that was really kind of rallying the troops, so I called him a brawler. And I don't think they knew what I meant, so then I explained why I started calling you the brawler, like the Holly carburetor. But back to, I can't remember who, awesomeness. I've been wanting a place like this for, I don't know, since I was probably 12, and it finally came to fruition in 2022 after a lot of heartache and frustration. But then it turned into an automotive nonprofit, which is why I'm here. This whole thing that I'm doing, this shop, this property, it's all part of this nonprofit called AuxAuto that provides financial mechanical assistance to people that depend on their transportation for getting through life. I basically pay the shop bills for people that can't afford to make their vehicles safe and operable. And then what I do is I kind of showcase some of the projects that I have on here and then make stupid videos, and I peddle some things. But it's not far off from anything that you're not able to do. I can promise you that. There's so many people that say you just got to take the first step. And I haven't even made it anywhere. That's the thing. I'm just still here. Let me just clean my glasses. I gotta clean my glasses so I can read the words. Awesomeliness. Now I can see it because your words were in the dark portion of the background. Um, here's another fun thing. So whenever I became an adult or was becoming an adult, I had so many things that I wanted to do, and I never got to do them, one of them full time, but I always got to do a piece of it at some point. So everything that I've ever wanted to do, that I've set out to do, looking back, I've been able to do on some scale. So I think it's kind of important to, when you're going through, when you're trying to achieve the things that you want to achieve, you also got to recognize that you might be achieving it, but you might not be aware of it at the time, because what you're doing and where you are is not what you had in mind, but it's what the world is giving you to recognize that you're actually getting to do it. 2000. So we don't just talk about cars here. You know, we talk about life. We talk about motivation and inspiration. I like seeing people succeed. I like to see them achieve things. It's part of what we're doing here. Yeah, that is a 69 Plymouth Roadrunner. Thank you for noticing. That is Bill, the 69 Roadrunner. And that is also a 69 Dodge Charger. A small shop for your little projects. See, that's the thing. It's completely attainable. You've got the goal up here, and then you got to break it down into sections, and you got to figure out what that first step is, and then you start doing the first step and you accomplish it, and then you keep moving up the notches until you get wherever you want to be. But you also have to recognize, because I guarantee you, once you build your small shop and you got it, you're gonna be like, well, I want a bigger shop, because that's just what happens. It's completely attainable. Gina, I'm good. How are you? So Gina, I call Gina a brawler because that's one of Holly's carburetors. And Gina has been pretty instrumental in fueling the engine that is AuxAuto. You see where I'm going with this? So she's not just a Holly carburetor, she's a brawler. That's true. You know, we always want bigger, we want better. And it's fine to dream that. It's fine to have that ambition. But at the same time, you got to kind of recognize where you are and appreciate where you are. Gina sees what's up. Man, Brains, that's a nice 30 by 50 is a big one. I think that's about what this is. Oh, and also, I've incorporated some lighting so I can make the background look even more fake. So when people come on here and say, oh, it's fake, that's fake, you're fake, you're a phony. Brains, I had a bunch of lights out because my lights still run off the ballasts. And I rented a scissor lift to change them all out because I've got, let's say I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 36 or 48. And some of them were out, and the light bulbs that I changed still didn't work because the ballasts are out. Dwayne asks about Chevys. I've got a Corvette sitting back here, but it's not mine. It's part of a donation for AuxAuto. We're still trying to figure out what to do with it. It's an 81 Corvette. AuxAuto being the automotive nonprofit that provides financial and mechanical assistance to people that depend on their transportation for getting through life. I basically pay the shop bills for people that can't afford to make their vehicles safe and operational. And I come in here and I promote it. And that car was donated to the cause, although we're still trying to figure out whether I'm going to fix it and sell it, buy it, fix it and sell it, use it for promotional stuff. But I don't have a whole lot of Chevys in here. Although my work truck that I've named Oxy with an A, not to be confused with the highly addictive painkiller Oxy, is a Chevrolet 2500. But not a lot of Chevy projects yet. Oh heck yeah! I got a website. It's very basic. It's very elementary because most of what I do is on TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, and I got YouTube streaming over here live. Not a lot of folks on YouTube live. I think you got to have a lot of following to have a lot of people on your live on YouTube. It seems like with TikTok, that's more people just kind of thumbing through, ready to lay down at night or whatever. My watch is dead, but I'm still looking at what time it is. And I don't think a lot of people do that on YouTube. I think more YouTube is for people that are watching channels and watching long form content. Content. There, we got some followers in here. I don't have any Mercuries in here. Are you talking about this one over here? I don't know which way. This one. That's a 68 300. I don't have any A bodies, but my first introduction to Mopars was a 1972 Plymouth Gold Duster with a slant 6 in it. My dad and my uncle, my dad and my uncle, they're twins. They bought that car for, I think it was like $800, and they drove it from Michigan to California. No, Michigan to Georgia, Georgia to California, California to Michigan, Michigan to Tennessee. Yeah, your muffler bearings. I tell you what, you're not using the round bearings. That's what it is. On your muffler bearings, they're the wrong ones. You have to use the long ones that are like cylinders for your muffler bearings to be right. And you also have to check the depth gauge on the panometric fan on your muffler bearings, because it'll prevent side fumbling if you don't use a malleable interface. So just make sure that you've got the lunar wane shaft correctly dialed in to the panometric fan that I was talking about earlier, and then your muffler bearings will work properly. Yes, Robert, that is generally. I had a video, my daughter had a Cobalt for a while, and it would build up water in the headlights, or no, one of the tail lights. So we drilled a hole in it to leak it out, because you know the big joke about turning blinker fluid. And so we drilled out her tail light and drained the blinker fluid. Dwayne, I'm in a state of confusion constantly, if you were wondering. Borderline psychosis. TNN, baby. I got a couple of these now. I've got a TNN hat. I've got an old school one that was just the guitar emblem. I got a couple Opryland hats. Oh, and sorry, what state? I'm in Tennessee. It's Dylan. Were you here yesterday? Yeah, it's a 440 in the Charger, but it's not an original 440. The original is sitting back here. Over here, you can't see it. It's original 383. And I put a RV from a 1973, a 440 from a 1973 RV in this Charger. Yeah, that's classic stuff right there. TNN Motorsports. I can't remember if I got a TNN Motorsports hat or not, but I don't think I did, because they wanted like $60 for it. Yeah, Dwayne. Hey, so there is this Ford truck. This is part of the AuxAuto program, even though it's not necessarily a necessity. But this truck has been in the family since new, and it caught fire about 6 years ago. Ish. I keep saying 6 years ago, but I can't remember exactly when it was. And it sat. and it was sitting in the front yard of somebody in Nashville. So I went and I asked them. I was like, "Hey, what's the deal with this truck?" And then they told me it's been in the family forever. It's kind of an heirloom. It's a family legend. And I was like, "Ah, it doesn't seem like it would take that much to fix it." So we worked out a deal, and I brought it out here to the shop. And I've been having issues because the engine, I couldn't get the engine to turn over by hand, and I finally got that taken care of. But tomorrow, hopefully tomorrow, I might be going up to Kentucky to pick up a 1979 Ford truck that is nothing basically usable but the engine. And I'm going to use all the parts on that engine to put on this one and get this running for the family that owns it. I care, Dwayne. That's cool. It's a legacy. It's part of your life now. The Roadrunner's got a 1960, I guess it would be a 68, but it's a 69 Roadrunner, 383, 4-speed. Oh, Brain's on YouTube. The words are so much smaller on the screen on YouTube. I've got TikTok over here, and I've got YouTube over here. I'm dually streaming, but the words are so much smaller on YouTube. That's why I'm wearing these. Y'all need to check out Gina's car. Yeah, I can't even start the vet, Corey. The only thing I've done to that so far since I've got it, because we still haven't figured out what to do with it, I put new tires on it, and when I put the engine in the Roadrunner, I was so excited about getting that thing started that I pulled the fuel line to the carburetor on the Corvette and just fed it fuel, and I got it turned over and started. It runs, it just doesn't run. It's never too much information, Dwayne. We're all friends here. The Ford's got a 351 modified. And it just so happened that I was scrolling through Facebook. Please, for the love of goodness, don't go buy this truck. But I was scrolling through Facebook Marketplace, and the guy's selling a 1979 Ford F-150 Ranger 351 modified. But it's got no bed. It's basically just the engine, the frame, and the cab. No doors, no parts. And I'm like, that's exactly what I need to get this truck running. So if please nobody go buy it. Unless you want to sponsor it, I would give you I'll give you tax paperwork for $500. I wish, Brett. I get that a lot though, but then they're like, "Oh, Dale Jr. ain't that fat." But with any luck, I'm going up there tomorrow to pick that truck up, and if everything goes right, Sunday, Monday, I could probably get that thing running. And I need to, because I need to move it out. Because I don't do a lot of projects. I don't do a lot of work on cars here. AuxAuto is a nonprofit that provides financial mechanical assistance to people that depend on their transportation for getting through life. I basically pay the shop bills for people that can't afford to make their vehicle safe or operable. And in the beginning, which was only 2021, I would bring cars out here and work on them, but it made more sense to coordinate with a shop at a place near where somebody lives and then set everything up through them, figure out what's wrong with it, and then figure out a plan to fix it. And then AuxAuto would cover it. And So that kind of process took over. So now I've got more room and time and space to do projects on my own, just to get people to say, hey, that's pretty cool. I want to subscribe to that because I want to follow along with either the 300, the Charger, the Roadrunner, the Ford, the Corvette, or whatever I'm working on, the Imperial project, the 74 New Yorker, or the 88, or whatever we're doing. And then hopefully one day the subscriptions turn into a form of currency that I can pay for all of these AuxAuto assists. I don't have an Impala, so I don't have a not pimped out one either. A friend of mine had an Impala all through high school. It was gorgeous. That is the 74 New Yorker. That is in another building out here. So AuxAuto is my nonprofit, but the place that the shop is on is another business venture that I started called Aux Land. And that 74 is sitting over in another building over there because it runs. I just haven't driven it in like 6 months. Man, Jerry, that's what I need is just parts. So the area that this Ford burned was just on the intake. So the carburetor's toast, distributor's toast, the wires that go from the ignition module are toast, plug wires are toast, and those are all the parts that I'm hoping to get off of this truck tomorrow. Yeah, we love Mopar, Thomas. We sure do. Yeah, the Ford caught fire, and then it sat for about 6 years, but it didn't look that bad when I took the project on, and then I encountered a bunch of other problems. But hopefully tomorrow I'm coming up with a solution. That would be great. Great. That would be great. Fantastic. Oh man, you bought a GTO, a 68 GTO new for $3,000, and do you still have it? That would be fantastic. Fantastic, yeah. This 69 Roadrunner that I got, it was bought new by the original owner September 24th, 1968, and he had it all the way up until he passed away in 2022, I believe, or 23. A lot of paperwork on that dude. Appreciate it, Fasa or Fosa. See, that's why Gene is the brawler right there. Man, that makes me happy. Gina's out there hooking it up. Y'all got to go over to her page and check out her car. Plus, she posts a lot of awesome vehicles. I don't know when you posted it, but I just saw that one for that silver Roadrunner. Man, it looks so good. Hey, Big Daddy, what's funny is a lot of people do think it is until I walk back there and I touch one of the cars. And tonight I actually set it up because this is not how my shop is lit up. On the stream that I'm using on TikTok, I've got a newer phone, and the one that I'm doing on YouTube over here is an older one. So on TikTok, it really looks fake. It looks really fake. And I kind of did that on purpose because I've got light coming in from this way, and I've got a light behind the seat, and then I've got one on me. So there's a difference between the lighting in the background and the foreground, and it looks fake. But honestly, what I want to do one day, Mo Parquet is here. There's another brawler. Gina, that's another brawler. Mo Parquet, you gotta, if you haven't added her, you guys probably even know each other. But what I wanted to do when people start calling my live stream out as fake, I don't know what I was gonna do. I was thinking of a word. Yeah, Matthew, you know what? It smells like beef jerky and Gouda. I actually moved all these cars around too to get this set up for tonight, and I adjusted the lighting. So yeah, it still smells like burned 100% fuel. Appreciate it, pal. Some of my OGs that are in here recognize the hat. I think that's pretty awesome. Appreciate it, Lolo. Carb cleaner and grease, that's actually what I put on in the morning. A little carb cleaner right here, a little grease right there, and then I head out in the day. Can't underestimate those 318s. I got a 318 in the 88 Fifth Avenue, and I got a disassembled 318 in here. It's a 69 318 before they were detuned. I do too, pal. I miss it. Car boats from the 70s. You talking about like this 300 over here? That's a boat, 4-door. That's a 68 4-door, and then I got a 74 New Yorker in another building. And then I've got a 69 Imperial that's disassembled. I technically also have a 69 Newport, but it's a parts car for the Imperial. Thank you, Timeless. Also, this hat is timeless. Junebug Boogie. Check this out. Yeah, I do too. That was the my introduction to all of this stuff automotive was TNN. And honestly, that's why I ended up buying the hat, because I'm still a fan. It kind of changed the trajectory of what I was wanting to do and what I did. Oh, I gotta hit this one up. Cypress. I don't have the oldest car I got is a '68. I desperately want a. I love those old gangster cars. I am in the market for a 1929 Ford Model A because I made a video about this on TikTok, but when I was going through, my grandpa passed away last year in June, and when I was going through all of this stuff, he had this binder, and in the binder was a story, not a story, a journal, where in 1948, when my grandpa was 17 or 18 years old, him and some friends took a trip from Detroit in a big old loop all the way over to DC, and in 1948, they drove a 1929 Ford Model A that belonged to his mother, my great-grandmother. And I got some pictures of that car. We actually still have the bill of sale for that 1929 Ford Model A. And I doubt that it exists because I've reached out to Model A groups. I'm very confident it doesn't exist because we've still got the serial number for it is on that bill of sale. But I want to find a 1929 Ford Model A because when they went to all these cities, they painted the names of the cities on the car. And I want to build a replica because they've got pictures of their journey and they documented the whole thing. And I thought it would be cool to have a display of this 1929 Ford Model A with some of the pictures that they took and, you know, the journey. Because they did, they mapped out their finances on this thing. I mean, it was pretty intricate for just a road trip. But no, I would like to find a 29 Ford Model A. On YouTube, I've got it listed as Timid Soul because that's what they named the car, Timid Soul. Utah, it was, I don't know, there were probably 14 different names painted on there. Painted that it was black because, you know, back then you get any color you want as long as it's black. And they painted the words on there in white. I don't think you have a name on there, but yeah, 14 grand for 2 Chargers is definitely worth it. They were pretty Utah. They were pretty big paint letters. I would honestly. So we've got a picture of them actually painting the names on there because they did it with a brush. But like on the Ford Model A on the windshield, it's got that like that little piece of metal that goes down, and on the top of that it said Timid Soul. Yeah, Cypress, they are. Matter of fact, on that, they're on YouTube on that story. I can't remember if I'm pretty sure I put it on TikTok, but I may have joined TikTok after I made that story. But yeah, I'm kind of not desperate to find it, but if that car exists, I feel like there's enough people in my family that would pitch in to try to buy it, even if it's in the worst shape ever. But it was cool because I love going on road trips and I love driving. And then I come across this story where they document. I mean, it was like 14 days, and they wrote down everything they did that day, the temperature, how much money they spent on gas, where they ate, what they ate. They stopped at the YMCA's along the way. They camped out in somebody's backyard. But just that whole, I mean, it's like they posted on social media every day on this trip, and then to have a copy of it is kind of monumental. And you want to hear something even cooler? I got to tell you something even cool, but I'm going to be right back and I'll tell you. I have to use the facility. Oh, what did I miss? Sorry, Gene, I'm back. I don't have a mic. Michael, it's a reproduction. It's not an original in general. Originally, that car was a B5 Blue, and yeah, it rained the other day, and my truck's got I gotta drain the water out of the work truck, the cab of the work truck. Otherwise, my tools get rusty. So anyway, so the story I was talking about, on YouTube, it's called Timid Soul. That was the road trip my grandpa took in 1948 in the 1929 Ford Model A. So that 1929 Ford Model A was bought by my great grandmother. We got a picture of her when she first bought it. She worked at an insurance company, and she bought it by herself on whatever salary she was making at the time. And so by 1948, it was 20 years old, and then her son, my grandfather, took it on a road trip with 2 guys. One of them I wasn't able to track down, but the other guy's name was Dave. And I don't remember how I tracked Dave down. Oh, Skid Racer, I remember you from yesterday. Thanks for coming in. Gina, who I was talking about yesterday, that's her right there. That's the brawler. Um, so I ended up tracking Dave down somehow. I don't really remember how I did it, but probably like I do all the research on these cars. And one day I'm out at my parents' cabin and we call them, and we start talking about this trip because now Dave is 92 years old. And in that story that they wrote, the stuff that they documented, they were in New York or something. No, they were in Tennessee. That's right, because they came through Tennessee. And their car overheated, and they decided they put the fuel cap on the radiator because I guess the radiator cap went missing or something like that, and then it overheated. So then they pull over at some bar, and some drunk guy comes out and was stumbling around. I was like, well, that's why your car is overheating. You got the cap on the thing, you idiot. And that's in the story that they had typed up because they journaled the whole story. So we got Dave on the phone. We called him and talked to him about it, and he recalled that whole thing. So on YouTube, on Timid Soul, I think it's like I had to do 3 parts of it. There's a phone conversation that I have with Dave, who was on that trip with my grandfather, which was pretty awesome. I think there were 2 different phone conversations through that whole thing. But at 92, man, he remembers that like it was a couple of weeks ago, and it was pretty cool. Oh, because before my grandpa died, we got my grandpa on the phone with Dave, and they probably haven't seen each other in 50 years. And they're talking about that road trip. So it was pretty spectacular. No, buddy, sorry. I'm not a successful NASCAR racer. I'm just a guy that started an automotive nonprofit a couple years ago, providing financial mechanical assistance to people that depend on their transportation for getting through life. And I come in here and I talk about it and I promote it. I would like to have a little western town like Dale Jr. has. Yeah, it was really cool. And it was really cool reconnecting my grandpa with Dave after, I don't think they really saw each other after 48 because they graduated high school and everybody went their separate ways. So 48, 58, 68, 78, 88, 98, 2008, 2018, they probably haven't seen each other in 74 years or something. And what's also kind of sad is in that conversation, my grandpa was like, one of these days I'll get out because he's only in Carolinas. He's like, one of these days I'm going to get out and I'm going to come up there and see you. But then about 2 months later, he died. So he never got to do that. I was listening to that phone conversation recently, and I forgot about that part, and it was kind of sad. But anyway, let's not bring the mood down here. But speaking of sad, my grandmother passed away in like 3 months prior to my grandfather, same year. Luke, we got a 68 300, 69 Charger. It's a 79 Ford. It's not mine. I'm working on it. 81 Corvette. That's not mine. I'm working on it. And a 69 Roadrunner. But, Gina, what's also crazy is, I guess it's not crazy, but I do a lot of family genealogy stuff. And his father, my great-grandpa, used to journal like every single day on things that he did. And he journaled the day that his wife died, my great-grandma. But their parents, my great-grandparents, died within 3 months of each other also, which is kind of wild. Yes, sir, that is a general. The Roadrunner Ringer has got a 69 Roadrunner 383 in it with a 4-speed. Oh, Gina, that's awesome. I knew that there was a reason. I don't. for some people, I just it's like I don't know. It's so fascinating to me. I can't. I get addicted to it. I actually got cubital tunnel syndrome, which is the ulnar nerve that starts with a W and these two fingers that tingle from typing and doing stuff, doing research back when I started doing that because I did it so much. But oh, it's just so fascinating because like I'm connecting with people that were born in my three-time great grandfather was born in 1850, and I'm finding pictures of him, and he's got no idea that I exist. He's got no idea I'm trying to figure out who he is. When he was living his life, he was just living his life and taking care of his family. And then here I am in 2000, starting in 2010 or so, I'm trying to figure out who this person is, and he was a jeweler, and we still have some of his tools. So I'm holding this like jeweler's hammer that he used in 1865 in Detroit. And it's just, I don't know, for me, it blows my mind. What's up, Banana? It's kind of the same thing. I do genealogy with these cars and I try to track down, where they came from and who used to own them. But with family, it's different because without them and without their struggles and without their survival, I wouldn't exist. And I mean, I owe a lot to them. I owe a lot to everybody that came before me. And I've tracked us all the way down to when we came to Detroit in 1854. I found the headstone for the Johann that was born in 1812 that brought his family from Germany to the country, and just standing at his headstone in Detroit at Grace Lutheran Cemetery and being like, I'm here because you came here. I'm here because you existed. It's just, I don't know. I don't think I could even explain the depth of fascination that I have with genealogy. The Broken Matters from Nashville. Where's Atwood? Yeah, my great grandfather was born in 1812 or 1814, depending on what document you look at. Oh, I don't this. So my daughter got me this jacket at a flea market in Nashville. Oh, you talking about those were drivers, weren't they? Atwood. Yeah, Gina. Yeah, some of the stories that I got from my grandfather were pretty interesting about his father, and that's a lot. That's a lot where that came from. But it's cool because you see these pictures of him. But then, of course, before my grandfather died, the stories that I got from him about the family of people that I'll never know is always fascinating to me. Oh, we rave. I hope you're not trolling, but my husband is this um, Charger. So no, he's cool because that's my husband. That's my boyfriend. This is Carol, my lady, and they don't mind. Look at them all hanging out. They're all cordial. They get along. They know how we do things. They're all part of the program. They agreed to it. Yeah, I might have to do that eventually, Gina. I don't know. I give everybody a chance because sometimes I just had this conversation with a friend of mine. Like, I think when people come in here and they say something that's inappropriate, I don't know. Maybe I just don't understand their sense of humor. Because there have been some times when people come in here and they say something pretty stupid, and then I'll respond to it, and then they'll respond with laughy face, and like, okay, that was a good one. People got different sense of humor. Uh-oh. Mobile mechanic. Hey, where are you out of, mobile mechanic? Just out of curiosity. Danny, no, it wasn't a movie screen. It doesn't have the push bar on it. But no, it's a reproduction. It's a replica. Yeah, let's put the chargers, not the electric ones. New York. The reason I ask is because one of the last AuxAuto assists that I did, the whole channel AuxAuto, the whole thing that I'm doing here is an automotive nonprofit that provides financial mechanical assistance to people that depend on their transportation for getting through life. I basically pay the shop bill or the mechanic bill for people that can't afford to make their vehicle safe or operational. And not the last one, but the one before that, I actually contacted a mobile mechanic in Nashville for a lady who her car broke down, and she relied on it to take her kids to therapy, some kind of physical therapy. And I contacted a mobile mechanic, and he went out and did a diagnostic, went and got the parts, and went and fixed the car within 4 hours. Granted, it was a little more expensive, but honestly, he was available. He was there. He took care of it. I can't argue with that, but it was a mobile mechanic that did that. And all I really had to do was make some phone calls for it. And I forgot what you even asked. Oh, go touch one of the cars. Yeah, I did hear Dodge was coming back. Surely they're going to put an engine in there. Is that Casey Kane you're talking about? I gotta go touch this charger for mobile. Yeah, I can imagine that. I mean, surely people understand. That was the deal with that mobile mechanic. I'm not kidding you. The whole thing, how that one came about is I've got a friend that works for another nonprofit. It's in a different state, but a lot of nonprofits don't really do anything with automotive stuff. You know, they pay electric bills, they'll pay for food stuff and necessities, but honestly, your transportation is a necessity. So that's why I started this, because I've been in that situation where I couldn't get where I was needing to go because I couldn't afford to pay the $450 to fix the injectors on my Jeep Liberty. And she contacted me because she's like, hey, our organization doesn't do this thing. Is there anything you can do for her? And then I contacted her. Then I contacted the mobile mechanic, and I set everything up. And like I said, it was a little more expensive, but the convenience of it was worth it. And but yeah, like when you get called out in the middle of the night, surely people understand that it's going to be a little bit more expensive because you're a human being and you have a life, and you're getting pulled out of one of the most important aspects of life, which is sleep. Let me go touch this car. Touch. Shh. Shh. You gotta hydrate. Gamble. The Charger it's an original. Originally, it's a 383. I've got the original engine sitting over here on an engine stand that you can't see, but I took it out because it spun a cam bearing, and it wasn't getting oil pressure like it should be. And instead of disassembling that and fixing it, or having somebody fix it, I would have disassembled it and had somebody fix it. I put in a 440 from a 1973 RV. So right now it's got a 440 from a 73 RV that I've named the Black Sheep because it's black. And just like me and my family, I'm the black sheep. Yeah, mobile. I have a 69 Imperial, and it rusted some of the structure. So I bought a 69 Newport because they're the same bones. And out of that car, I pulled the bench seat, and that's what I'm sitting on. So I built a little wooden thing so it can roll around the shop. I can sit on it and check my MySpace, and just thought it was cooler than just putting in the backyard. Can I see in the glasses? Well, that's why I'm wearing them, because I can't see the words. But actually, I can. Yes, I can see in the glasses. They make everything so clear. No, it's just a Roadrunner. It's not a, it's a 69, so it's a 383. At my table. It's one of the things I'm selling. The Vivor table, and all the proceeds go to AuxAuto. I kind of shifted my focus. Usually I'm sitting over here, but I wanted to set the cars up tonight, and I put some lighting on it to make it look a little more fake. So more people would be like, that's a green screen. Fake. I also made another video for that torch, which is a lot of fun, which part of the fun for me. Hey, what is that? Whatever was on my head, do what that was. Part of the fun is making videos. Back in the day, we used to make movies, me and my brothers and cousins, we used to make movies on the shoulder-mounted VHS, and it was a whole lot of fun. So part of it, I mean, I don't sell a whole lot of things, and I don't get a whole lot of subscribers, and I don't have a lot of people on YouTube, but the fun for me, the therapeutic portion of it, is that whole process of creating something. So whether, 2 people or 200 people see it, it's still satisfying to me because I get to go through that process. It's just kind of like, building a car. I could take an engine out of one of these cars and rebuild it and put it together, and nobody knows about it, but it doesn't matter because it's the process that I enjoy. What tomato? Tomato. Heck yeah, Josh, you got it. Chrysler, Charger, Roadrunner. I would, but I'm also trying to buy a tire changer, which that's going to be a little pricey. Hello, Phil. I am from around Nashville. I claim Nashville. Nashville's statistical area is where I am. But right now, I'm out here at Auxland, which is the complex that is the home base for AuxAuto, which is my automotive nonprofit that provides financial mechanical assistance. The cricket, it wants to talk. The cricket wants to talk. Anyway, I basically pay the shop bills for people that can't afford to make their vehicles safe or operational. You agree with me, right? Now you're going to be quiet. Pretty typical. Yeah, sounds good, Mobile. Thanks for coming and hanging out. I'm just trying to promote some goodness. That's what I said. You tell. Come here. You tell them. Mm-hmm. Yep. Right. Financial assistance. Keep going. Did you forget? For people, right, that can't afford their shop bills. It's okay. Nobody's looking. Yep. That's what I do. Thank you. This. I feel like I know who the storm is. If you're talking about Dodge and Valvoline, not the real sponsors. I will answer this. I don't. I got a couple of people that donate money occasionally. In the beginning, a lot of everything was paid for by working overtime. I have had a couple of people donate money. Matter of fact, recently I had a friend of mine I used to work with back in the day, and they wanted to give me one of their old cars. It was like an '81 Buick Regal. Well, turns out that another family member had sold it, and they're like, "I tell you what, I'll just cut you a check." So they wrote me a check that will essentially cover one of the next AuxAuto assists, and then after that, I was at a car show, and which is kind of a funny story because due to weather, we at the car show, everybody was kind of parked around this giant parking lot, and they wanted to kind of consolidate everybody to the center. So this one guy who was there with a friend of mine had locked his keys in the no, not fake Jake, not fake Jake. He locked his keys in his trunk, and he called a locksmith, and we were kind of talking about it, and he's like, I usually carry tools, right? So does he, but he's like, I got a locksmith, but the guy's like, I just don't think that I can get into it without popping the lock off. And I was like, what are the chances that your Plymouth, your 60, I think it was a 67 Plymouth, and my Roadrunner have the same trunk lock key? No, we'll try it. We'll see. So I put them together, and they were different. The keys were different. They didn't match up. But I was like, you know what? We'll try it anyway. And I put my key from my '69 Plymouth Roadrunner in his '67 Belvedere, I think it was, and popped it open. And it was the I don't know, what a moment of relief. And so the guy's like, listen, I got to pay you something. I don't know. You don't realize how much I appreciate this. And I was like, you don't have to pay me anything. You just need to subscribe to my YouTube channel. And then I ended up telling him about what I was doing, and then he ended up cutting me a check as a donation for what he would have been paying a locksmith, which wasn't cheap. So another story of where that comes from. But I don't really ask for money, which is great. All I really want is subscriptions and support, and then hopefully at some point it turns into something that I can turn into some sort of financial income, which has happened on TikTok. So I got enough people to subscribe or follow on TikTok that I'm eligible for the creator. I'm not sure what it is, but where you can sell things on TikTok. So I'm tailoring things to the shop, like the Vevor gas can, the tables, the torch that you can burn things with, and I get a commission off of that, and all of that commission goes to AuxAuto Assists. I'm gonna have to go with Bill Elliott on that one, the OG. The orange one's a Charger. Not a Firebird in the back. I'm scrolling back here because I missed some of them. It's an '81 Corvette back there. And yes, it is not fake. Do I need to go touch a car to prove it? I'll be honest with you. I sort of kind of did that on purpose. This cricket really wants to get on this live stream. Yesterday I was on here for, I'm not kidding, about 4 hours. Again, my watch is broken. And it was pretty cool. I had a lot of people that hung out here for a little bit and had some really cool conversations about not only car stuff, but life stuff, which is, I mean, I'm not scared to talk about that. I ain't scared. I mean, we've talked about Gina, we've talked about genealogy. We do it all. We talk about anything. I got TikTok on this side, and then over here, I've got another phone that's streaming on YouTube. I'm Nashville. I'm like east of Nashville. Scott, I get a lot of the Dale, but then they get a closer look and they realize that Dale Jr. is not this fat and out of shape. Um, Electric. Let me think about that. It is the opposite of what you would think. So to the left is richer, I believe. I might be backwards. Actually, it doesn't matter which way you turn it, you're going to get poorer because it's not going to save you that much in fuel mileage. I could start it. Heck yeah, that's the introduction. The first S box. You know what? Let me go see if this cricket wants to talk for a little bit. I'll start it up and dispel some of the rumors. We'll just take the TikTok phone. And we'll fly over here with the charger. We'll just set you over here momentarily. The charger's kind of subtle. It's got, it's been a while, but I'm pretty sure they're just turbos on there, but they're really mild and they're kind of quiet. It's great for cruising, but I would like to have a setup like I've got on the Roadrunner. And I've got an exhaust guy. It's not my guy, but it's the guy that I use. And I'm not ashamed to... Yes, it is a General. I'm not ashamed to say that it's my exhaust guy because that's where I'm going to go from now on. But it's Volunteer Muffler in Cookeville, Tennessee. Super satisfied. I got the Roadrunner exhaust redone, and I told them that I wanted an 80s setup. So he out of the manifold to an X pipe to glass packs, and he dumped it out right in front of the rear tires, and it's fantastic. But I would like something a little more aggressive on the Charger, especially the Charger's got a 73 440 in it. That's after they detuned them, so it's not got a lot of it's fluffy. No, it's a 440 regular detuned 73 440. No, it's got a manifold still. Gamble. Both of them do. Matter of fact, because the Roadrunner, everything on the Roadrunner is original, except for the tires, the water pump, the radiator. Oh man, I can't tell. I can't pronounce your name. Raccle. That is a tough question. Ah, mac and cheese. Yeah, I'm gonna have to say mac and cheese. Hey Tony. Yeah, Gina. That is true. Yes, that is true. I am at a shop. I am at my shop. This is AuxAuto, the shop of AuxAuto, Auxilium Auto, the nonprofit that provides financial mechanical assistance to people that depend on their transportation for a living. I basically pay the shop bills for people that can't afford to make their vehicles safe or operational. And in the beginning, I did bring cars out here and I worked on them and I fixed them, but it made more sense. I kind of changed my business plan up a little bit and I coordinate with real shops near where people live to figure out what's wrong with their car, to do the diagnostics, and then cover the costs of it, because it didn't make any sense to haul a car an hour out here and then work on it and haul it back. I can go out to where somebody lives, haul it from their house to a shop that's local, that people love and trust, have them work on it, and then take it back to their house, kind of thing. But no, is this is my shop. It's just for my projects and my things that I do out here. And yes, Gina, that is the soothing sound of the saxophone, which I believe is the same as the clarinet and the flute, believe it or not. Not much Bill Elliott. I don't play the sax. Back in the day, I did play drums, though. I didn't build this shop. This shop was already here, but I came across this place that I now call the Auxland Complex, which is composed of some different parts. One of them is AuxAuto. And I did a lot of work to this place, but I didn't have to build it. It was already here. Oh, Jonathan, way too much more than anybody would be willing to pay. I've had that car a long time. Long time. I've had it a long time. Can't get rid of it. What's up, cowboy? '75 Plymouth Duster. Oh man, neck breaker. My first introduction to basically old cars was a '72 Plymouth Gold Duster, and I would love to find that car. But man, what a classic, man! The Duster, the Demon. I don't usually wear glasses. It's hard to get used to. but I can't read. The words are so small. The Charger is your dad's dream car, or just any one of those 68 970s? No, I don't think we've talked about the old 1990 Suburban yet, Gina. Oh yeah, not tonight though, but yeah, we did. The white Suburban with I like your name there, Charlie. Oh, 1981, your first car was a 69 Charger. I bet you bought that thing for like 800 bucks. And now they're worth like, even in the worst condition, they're worth like 14,000. Where you guys at, Jonathan? Oh man, is there any chance you guys still have it, Charlie? Jonathan's in Western Pennsylvania. Um, it's an attainable thing. Oh, that's unfortunate. You mean Dale Bumhart? Dale Burnout. That'd be a better one. That's what I'm going to go by, Dale Burnout. Appreciate it, RCDR. Got a couple works in progresses out here. What's the plural of progress? Works in progress. I could send you a better picture of it. If what's it called on here? DM. If you DM me and say, send me a picture of that when I get off of here, I'm probably gonna watch is dead. I'll be on here for a couple hours because I don't have anything to do tonight. But if you send me a message, I'll send you a picture of it and I'll try to make it look cool because I kind of set up lighting and stuff to make. I guess it was on purpose to try to generate a. So when I usually do these lives, I get called out a lot because people say it's a fake background, even though all it is the shop lights are on. So I kind of created that tonight because I've got light coming from behind this seat right here to illuminate, kind of make it look fake. That's true, but I just had somebody call me out on it. They told me to go touch the Charger because they didn't believe it was real. I think it also has to do with the phone that I have. I've got a newer phone because I'm streaming TikTok over here and then YouTube over here, and I'm using an older phone, and the older phone just kind of looks like an old video. I think on the newer ones, they have a dual lens even on the front and the back, and it will kind of focus on the foreground and the background. Cypress. I tell you what, my Roadrunner's got bench seats in it, and the Charger has buckets. And I honestly like the buckets better because at least in the Charger they sit a little bit lower. When I sit in the Roadrunner, even when I'm sitting normally, my head is right at the roof. Appreciate it, like the orange Tracy. Classic Hemi orange. Yeah, Void, my wife told me to stop streaming, and then when I realized that I was hearing voices, since I don't have a wife, I got a little bit freaked out, and then I just kept streaming. I have not heard about the 340 for NASCAR. Wintry. It was also my dream car to have a General Lee a long time ago. Which that story, that car has got a pretty interesting story as to how it entered my life. Which I can tell if you got like 10 minutes. I'm not going anywhere. I'm just hanging out on live talking about my automotive nonprofit that provides financial mechanical assistance to people that depend on their transportation for getting through life. I basically pay the shop bills for people that can't afford to make their vehicles safe or operational. And I showcase some of the vehicles that I have, and I live stream and I talk about it and try to get people to subscribe. And hopefully one day those subscriptions will lead to financial acuity. If that's the right word, that's what I need to start saying. Oh, yeah. It's nostalgia. You know, sometimes I don't know if I'm like anybody else, but like I'll be like, all right, tonight I'm just going to relax. I'm going to watch a movie. And then and I'm not kidding you, I spend 15 to 20 minutes going through Hulu, Netflix, Prime, HBO Max, and whatever, trying to find a movie to watch. And I can't find anything that I'm interested in. So I'll just end up watching a show from my childhood. And I'll put on Dukes of Hazzard, or I'll put on The Fall Guy, or I'll put on something. And that's what I end up watching. It's kind of like how my daughter recently moved out. She got her own apartment. She's in school. So I'll be like, all right, I'm gonna make dinner. I'm gonna watch a movie and just hang out by myself. And then I'll make dinner, and then I can't find a movie, and I've already ate my dinner while I'm finding a movie, and I'm like, well, this is dumb. I'm just gonna go lay down and go to bed. Mr. Bona, I keep thinking it's Bonnaroo, sorry. So this 69 Charger, I guess starting from the beginning, my parents were notoriously not that great at surprising me with birthday gifts because for whatever reason I would find it. Case in point, they got me a bike one year and they put it in a closet in the garage, but that closet had a window facing the front yard. And, you know, back when I was a kid, we played in the front yard. And as I'm running by this window, I see the bike in there. I'm like, oh my goodness, there's a He-Man bike. But my birthday's in 2 days. I should probably not say anything about that. It's probably my birthday. And then a couple of years later, you know, I outgrew that bike. It's time for another one. My parents bought me a bike for another birthday or Christmas, but my mom was like, hey, run out and get the groceries in the car. So I go out and get the groceries, and there's a bike in there. Like, surprise. So when I was 16 years old, I used to go out with my dad. He would buy lumber from sawmills for a manufacturing company, and I'd go with him on these sawmill trips, and I was looking for chargers because back then a lot of people had old cars just sitting in their backyard, and I could tell by the shape of a car cover on a charger whether it was a charger or not because I was just so focused on the cars at that time. Same thing with motorcycles. I could tell you more about them now that I've probably forgot. But we ended up finding a 68 shell of a car up in near Bowling Green, Kentucky. And it had no engine, it had no glass, had no interior. It looked like somebody started replacing the rust on it. And we found this and we bought it for 500 bucks. But the only problem was they couldn't deliver it until the next week because guy ran a tow company. He's like, I don't really have any free time until next week. So my dad's like, that's cool. Don't worry about it. So that next week was also my birthday week, and we were going out to another state to visit some friends. And my dad's like, well, I think we flew out there. We flew out there, and then he was going to drive out there midweek and meet us there, and then we're all going to drive back. Pretty sure that's what happened because he had some business to attend to. So we flew out to Texas is where we went, Beaumont, Texas, and we're hanging out with some folks out there. And then Dad comes to Texas. We have the birthday thing, and then on the way back, we drove. It was 12 hours or whatever. And we get back to the house, and there's this 1968 piece of junk car that's in the yard. And I get out of the car, and I'm looking at it, and I'm getting just all these pieces everywhere, and it's an absolute wreck. It's a piece of junk, $500 car. I just couldn't believe that there's an actual 68 Dodge Charger at the place that I live. And I was out there for like an hour and a half, and we got back late anyway. So finally my parents were like, dude, come inside. You're geeking over this thing. But as I'm walking down the hill where that car is into the garage, they open up the door, and as the garage door opens, it's just like this big halo of orange. And inside the garage was a 1969 Dodge Charger, orange with a vinyl top, black hood scoops, 383 original with a 727 and a different wheels on it. And so when my dad had to stay back on business, sorry this story is taking so long, he had to stay back on business, but what he was actually doing was going to buy this car that he didn't say anything about and having it delivered while I was in Texas. So when we got back, it was a big surprise. So there were so many parts to it, but they pulled it off, and it was the most monumental thing ever, and I'm forever grateful for it. Of course, this was back when you could buy a Charger for $6,000, which you can't do that anymore. But that's this car. That's the end of that story. But it's kind of funny because every single time it was just kind of an accidental discovery of it, but it was so planned out because I'm pretty confident that he bought that car before we even went to go find that 68, because this whole thing was planned out over about 3 or 4 weeks. And on top of that, I forgot about this until this moment. I forgot about this completely. But when we set out on that journey, before we found the white piece of junk 68, we stopped at the gas station and we picked up a Wheels and Deals. And I was looking through it, and I found that car. I found this car, the 69, and I saw the listing for it, and I was like, dude, this is perfect. And he's like, well, we're not going to have time to look at it. And I swear to everything that I believe in, he had already bought it, but he didn't say anything about it. And so it turned into it was the whole thing, and it was a pretty fantastic scheme is what it was. Which is another reason I could never sell it, because through that journey of these old cars, we ended up with 2 68 Chargers and the 69. And then as I became an adult, I sold the 2 68s in 2003 for $3,500. And I just could never sell this car because I told myself, just the amount of work and time they put into that thing, the charade, I was like, I can never sell this car unless there's like an immediate necessity, like a medical need or like a family member has something going on. So it's going to be a hard one to ever get rid of. Me too, Ray. Me too. Yes, it is a General. I thought I had, here it is. That's better. I'm also live over here on YouTube. I just don't ever really get a whole lot of people on YouTube. Man, I feel like I just talked for like 20 minutes about that. I appreciate it, E. I appreciate you following, because I not only just have these project cars, this whole thing, AuxAuto, according to the IRS, it's Auxilium Auto. It's a nonprofit that provides financial mechanical assistance to people that depend on their transportation for getting through life. I basically pay the shop bills for people that can't afford to make their vehicles safer operational, for those who depend on it to get to things like work and school and medical appointments and stuff like that. So I come on here and I try to promote it. And I basically fix people's car free for them. I've done 15 of them at the tune of about 15 grand. So it averages out to about 1,000 a piece. I hope to do more in the future, but that's why I'm here. That's why I'm talking to folks. Yeah, well, on average is 15. There are some, like changing a battery used to cost like 150 bucks, but now it's $350, which is crazy. Because there was one that was only a battery and it was 350 bucks. There was one that I did was $2,500. So it really kind of varies, but I mean 15 at 15,000, just kind of an average. Oh, Derek the OG, you know what this is. You had a 69 Roadrunner for 27 hours and met a tree with it. That's rough. Dang, Grumpy, you pointing down that C body just from that rear end. Yeah, Derek, I was talking to somebody earlier. That's why I bought the hat, because TNN had a huge part in my childhood, because it was the channel that we got that had all of the automotive stuff on it. Grumpy, it's a 68. It's close. Good eye, though. Nothing wrong with a diesel truck. Oh, my internet going out. Hope I didn't cut out. Yeah, the rust. I had some rust on this Roadrunner. I didn't really fix it. I just kind of patched them up. I can't jump the Charger because I'm not a fool, but I did jump an 88 300 Chrysler 300. Bent the frame. I would like to jump a Crown Vic Charger, though. I would really love to have one of those. I could make videos of me doing donuts and stuff in the Crown Vic Charger. I don't. Aside from if you're able, what car did you say it was? I don't remember where it was. Oh, Trans Am. I'm pretty sure that's a popular car. I'm pretty sure they make prefab parts for that. So even if you got like a hole in the driver's side, probably, get the part and then cut it out according to that part. Because at least with Mopar products, a lot of them make replacement parts, so you don't have to replace the whole floor. They're just sections. I can, Jonathan. I just did. It smells like gas in here too. 904. This is a 68 300 69 Charger. Just 79 Ford. That's not mine. There's an 81 Corvette. That's not mine, and a 69 Roadrunner. The good years. Oh, Raj, you're 100% on point there. And correct me if I'm wrong, because if you know about those, I guarantee you know more than I do about them. There were 3 different kind of versions of that, if I'm not mistaken. Jonathan, thanks for hanging out. I do appreciate it. You being here is not just being here and hanging out. You being here is promoting this nonprofit endeavor that I have. So when I say that I appreciate it, I sincerely mean that. So thanks for hanging out. But yeah, those Grand Nationals. Did you see that that story where the guy bought the two like consecutive VIN number Grand Nationals from a drug dealer that were parked in a warehouse for years? 904. I'll tell you how I afforded it because I'm a lot older now. And I've been trying to do this since I was 14 years old. Yeah, 904 accurate. I do not have a wife. I don't have a lot of money. I just make bad decisions. That'd be a good t-shirt I think somebody made. Here's the thing, 904. You could very well get married to a person that has the same interests, and basically in the union of you guys as a relationship, whether you get married or not, double your income. I mean, there are I don't want to make assumptions, but there are people who you would be attracted to that are also into this sort of thing and that support this sort of thing. So I wouldn't count it out completely, because if you know what you're looking for and you are able to clearly communicate what your expectations are and listen to what the other person's expectations are, you could find yourself in a situation to where you both have the same goals. And those things are completely attainable, where one of your incomes is all for fun stuff and one of your incomes is for responsible stuff. Raji, I do have a motorcycle. It's not here. It's a 2006 Kawasaki Vulcan. And every year I say I'm going to sell it, and then I park it, and then the battery dies, and then in the spring I buy a new battery for it. I ride it a couple times, I park it, and then I decide to sell it, and the battery dies, and the next year comes spring, I put a new battery in it, and I ride it, and then as it gets colder, I park it, and the battery dies, and then I buy another one in the spring. That's it. You get where I'm going here. But I tell you what, something about that Vulcan, there have been times where it was parked for 3 years at a time, just completely parked, ignored it. Checked the oil in it, put a new battery in it, drove it. Dependable. So dependable. Uncle, no, but I tell you what. So there's somebody on here, Mo Parquet, don't play. I was talking to her. I was doing a live yesterday, and I was talking to her because after I got done with Mo Party this year up in Bowling Green, I got really motivated to do something more, because most of the things that I do here, these cars are just cruisers. They're not built. They're not horsepower cars. They're just cruisers. And I got really motivated to do something like a drag car, a burnout car, an autocross car, or something. And like, I love drifting around in the dirt, but I think it would be fun to build a drift car, build a stunt car. I think the route that I would probably go would be to build a stunt car, just kind of for fun. I don't really think you can really compete with that sort of thing. But there's just so many aspects of it that, I mean, you could really get involved into anything. But everything that I do, or anything that I did, is basically just promotion for my automotive nonprofit. That's why I did the Hoopty Cross race series for a while. It's a dirt track series. They keep points, but you don't really get any, it's just for fun. But you'd get some clapped out car and you race it in the dirt track, and they did this all over the country, and it was a whole lot of fun, and I got pretty involved with it, and I'm in there just to kind of promote my nonprofit. But I met some really cool people through that whole thing that I still keep in touch with. One of them, matter of fact, just raced in Vice Grip Garage's Vandemonium in at Holly Mo Party at the beginning of the month. What if we did a cannonball run off-road over on YouTube? Yes, thank you for hanging out for a little bit. I got TikTok over here and I got YouTube over here. Thank you for stopping by. I'm pretty sure you're always everywhere, Gina, the brawler. You could do something like that out where I am out in the country here. You do like a multi-county dirt track cannonball run. Oh man, Northeast Ohio. If you guys don't know who this person is, you need to go subscribe to his channel. Just earlier, a little bit ago, we were talking about Charger Crown Vics because someone said I should jump this one. And I said I would be stupid if I did that. And, man. Yeah, if I had one of those salt shotguns. They're all right when they're far away and there's multiple of them. But this dude, I swear, he's at my truck. I got my work truck right here. And I'm pretty sure he's breaking into it. Trying to drive it. I don't remember who it was that said something about jumping in general, but if you're still in here, you need to go subscribe and follow Northeast Ohio, because that's like they do that. They literally do that. They just jumped the most epic generally jump in Somerset, Kentucky, over the fountain in their downtown square. I was talking to this cricket. 904. I tell you what's funny about this Charger is there's a guy in Bowling Green. His name's Duder Biggs. Duder Biggs is his name. That's his real name. And he used to own this Charger back in probably 1996 or 95 or something like that. He bought it from a guy who bought it from the dealership. It was a B5 blue vinyl top 383 base model Charger. And when he bought it, he painted it orange, put a racing stripe around the rear, painted the hood scoops black. And he replaced the front seats in it. And I didn't know that. But I was doing my genealogy research on that car. And because I could never get a hold of Duder Biggs. Duder Biggs is a little bit older, so he doesn't have a lot of social media. So I got on Bowling Green, one of those local things. And I was like, hey, is there anybody here that happens to know somebody by the name Duder Biggs? And I'm not kidding you. Almost immediately, I got responses, like 10 of them. And I ended up calling Duder on the phone. And I talked to him for about 15 minutes about this car and about Mopars. And he's been doing that. He's been doing that for 30 years. And then I tried to meet up with him at Mo Party. And then my Mo Party experience got kind of thwarted by other responsibilities. So I didn't get to do everything that I wanted to do. But I was able to contact him and talk to him. He just sounds like an awesome dude. He knows a whole lot about old Chryslers and Dodges and Plymouths. But the interior is original, aside from the seats. The rear seats are still original. I think I got my flashlight still. Here, let's go look at it. That's the general. And this is the black sheep. A 440 from a 1973 RV. I call it the black sheep because I painted it black and it's an oddball, kind of like me. Yes, sir, Mr. Bonnaroo. Original interior except for the seats, which I found out recently that Duder Biggs replaced those in 1997. An 80 LeBaron with a turbo. Heck yeah. Heck yeah. Man, that dude is right there. It's where I hang out on, usually it's the weekend. Got a couple days off, don't have any responsibilities tonight. So got on TikTok doing a little live. I'm probably gonna be on here for, I don't even know what time it is. Probably for a couple more hours. I mean, that's what I'm doing. Talking about my automotive nonprofit, talking about things, talking about life stuff. We talked about genealogy earlier. It was great. The old money. I got a TikTok on one phone. I got YouTube on the other. Don't have a lot of folks on YouTube. Listening to some cool jazz as the breeze flows from the shop doors from the outside and the crickets just chirping away like crickets do. Anthony, my day was great. This 79 Ford F-150, I took this on as a project because I'm trying to get it running for a family who's owned the truck since new. About 6 years ago, it caught fire. And the short version is I ended up talking to the owner about the truck, and she was telling me what was going on with it. And honestly, it didn't look that bad. Granted, there was a fire that kind of burned components of the carburetor and the distributor and the plug wires and all the other stuff that's on a 79. And I was like, I think I could probably get this running. And I told her about my automotive nonprofit. And I said, it's kind of it's not a necessity, but all the elders of the family love this truck. It's been a part of their life and their family since it was new. And I was like, I think it would be cool if I got it running and then you were able to take your dad for a ride in it again. And today I found a 1979 Ford F-150 with a 351M in it, 2-barrel carburetor up in Kentucky. And I was like, dude, all he's selling is like the cab. He's taking the doors off. He's taking everything off of it, but he's selling basically the cab, the engine, and the frame. And I was like, this is awesome because I don't know that much about Fords, but if I've got a running Ford engine and I have parts on it that work and I can take those parts on it and put it on this one and I can see how they're put together, this is great. So hopefully, with any luck, I'm going to go up there tomorrow and pick this truck up and bring it home. So I found that out today. So to answer your question, my day today was fantastic. Yeah, put that, traditionally, along with the story, the generally didn't have a Hemi in it. And I'm pretty confident they didn't use any Hemis for any of the stunts or any of the jumps. But, I mean, The Hodge twins is I'm not sure what exactly their title are, but I know they're social media people. They just gave away a General Lee not too long ago with an original Hemi in it, and then about 2 months after they did the giveaway, I saw it for sale on Marketplace, which I thought was kind of funny. I'm gonna go see if I can find this cricket. Here, cricket. Guarantee you it starts chirping again. Pardon. Yeah, 904. It I tell you what, it's kind of like people like watching sports. People like watching movies. People like shopping. People like, there it is again. People like doing things that brings them peace, and that's what this place does. Not just the shop, but the whole complex. Back in the day, I used to play music, and I've got a building out here, and the third floor is just dedicated to, it's all drum stuff. I got all my drum stuff in there and music stuff, and it's kind of like, I mean, there'll be weeks where I'll come out here and I won't even come in the shop. I'll just be over there, and then there'll be weeks where I'm in here the whole time. So it's just kind of like, it's very peaceful. I get centered. Centered. Oh yeah. Is it Bonanno or Bonaruno? I'm just gonna call you Mister. If I say Mister, that's who I'm talking to. Yeah, he gets a lot of crap, but it's funny because when I was starting this whole AuxAuto thing, because he's Tennessee also, and I'm in Tennessee, and a lot of the things that are on his channel I'm familiar with. Like whenever people stole stuff from his property, it's literally like Rutherford County, which is Murfreesboro, sheriff's deputies that are investigating it, and it's like I see those cars around here all the time. And he made this speech when he had his first property in Tennessee before everybody dimed out his address and were trying to steal stuff from him, about how he's basically built this whole thing off people criticizing him. And then it's like, and what he was saying was, even if people think it's stupid, it doesn't really matter because it's not up to them. And it's like, yeah, why? Because I was really kind of apprehensive about trying to promote you know, this thing that I'm doing, because I got a lot of people that just thought I was a scam. And I screenshotted a lot of them because it may have been my inability to properly or effectively explain what I was trying to do, but it kind of came across as like an extended warranty thing, and that's not what I'm doing. So I got a lot of hate for it at the beginning of it. But then when I was watching that video of Whistling Diesel, it's like, God, you know, really, he's kind of built this thing. Because a lot of people just get mad at what he does, and he literally is just making a living doing all the stuff that I used to do when I was a kid or a younger person. And he's, I don't know, I'm forever going to be a fan of him. But anyway, going back to the general thing, yeah, it's an LS too. But still, I mean, it's pretty awesome. I'm sorry, it's cool. Sometimes you got to kind of push away your preconceived notions and just kind of appreciate it for what it is. It also doesn't have the right wheels on it, but I don't know enough about the 10-speed Camaro, but that is a lot of speeds for a Camaro. No, I'm not Dale Jr. Dale Jr. is in better shape than me and he's a lot more successful than I am. I just sit out here and talk to crickets. Yeah, actually, I just showed the engine and the interior and started it a minute ago. I'll do it again here in a minute whenever this crickets quit chirping in my earlobes. Oh, I need like a tennis ball or something. Okay. GTO Judge. I'll take it. I want all of them. That's my problem, is I want all of them. I think one of my biggest automotive influences, aside from all the YouTube folks, because I spent a long chunk of my adult life raising my daughter, and I was out of the whole car thing for a long time. But when I got back into it, it was solely because of Vice Grip Garage, Whistling Diesel, Junker Up Chris Birdsong, and Scott Speed Shop. I think that was the 4 OGs. I watched those pretty much religiously. Those were the 4 YouTube channels where when I'm watching them, I decided I wanted to start getting back into cars. But I didn't even get into Jay Leno until a little bit later on. But I thought Jay Leno was just a rich guy that bought cars. And I knew that he was into cars because whenever I would talk about cars, like, oh, Jay Leno's a big car guy. And so, okay, yeah, a rich guy that buys cars. That's not what I'm not impressed with it. I met Jay Leno, and we were supposed to go to his shop, but I think his wife at the time was sick, and we weren't able to do it. And even still, nothing. But then I watched the first episode that they had of Jay Leno's Garage, and that dude knows so much. So he's not just a rich guy that has a lot of cars. He knows so much information about all the cars that he has, and he has them for a purpose. Like, he knows the designers and all the history of it and the genealogy of it. And I was just so blown away that he was so in tune with everything, every dynamic of the automotive industry, that I just became such a huge fan. I feel bad for whoever my daughter dates because we sit down and have chats in here. Actually, she's dating a dude right now that is a big car guy, which is kind of cool. Because when he comes out here to the shop, it's kind of like we speak the same language. Yeah, no, I'm just like his whole shop thing, and he employs, you know, all of his old buddies from back in the day, and I'm just a huge fan of Leno. Are you in Tennessee stock? I think I just washed the cricket out of existence. He wins. I was hoping that I could just like spray the water hose underneath the truck somewhere in the gravel, but he's still there. Oh, it's because he's inside the shop. Yeah, he's all right. He's a car cricket anyway. The cricket's into Mopars. It's cool. Uncle, you know what I heard that mice don't like mint. Of course, I know that's not a mouse, but I have a lot of mice out here because I'm out in the country. But I heard that that mice don't like mint, so if you put a lot of mint, they tend to go somewhere else. 904. I tell you what, let me show you this. How do my neighbors feel about starting the car? So long as it doesn't cut off. So this place, I've got my automotive nonprofit, AuxAuto. Shop is all this place. do have a neighbor. To the other side, there's a cabin over there. And they're great. I've only talked to them once. And their son, I think it's their son, is a deputy out here, which, you know, it's always good to know. Appreciate it, 9:30. Since somebody asked, that's why I was explaining it. So sorry if I made you upset. I mean, the whole reason I'm on here is to talk about stuff. So it's something I'm talking about. No, plus the place that I'm at is like 1,700 feet above sea level. But there's no, I don't get that bad weather. It gets windy. Appreciate it, Nordic. Oh, stock, I promise you it's not that clean. I purposely have the lighting set up to make it look better. It's not really that clean. My favorite car is, it's hard because I've got so much connection with this 69 Charger, but this 69 Roadrunner has got such a story to it. And it's kind of catapulted my automotive nonprofit, which is why we're here. That's why I'm here. AuxAuto is an automotive nonprofit that provides financial mechanical assistance to people that depend on their transportation for getting through life. I basically pay the shop bills for people that can't afford to make their vehicle safe or operational and depend on them for things for like school, work, medical appointments, and whatever else is necessary. And when I bought that car, I originally was going to use it and then just sell it and use the proceeds for my nonprofit. But it garnered so much attention on YouTube that I feel like it serves my mission better if I hang on to it and just showcase it every now and again. Oh, I'll tell you the Roadrunner story. Do you want to hear the Roadrunner story? I'll tell you the long version, but I've had this 69 Charger for a long time. And in 2019, when my daughter was getting older and hanging out with friends and doing extracurricular activities, I found myself having a HUD. I'm in, near Nashville, Tennessee, but I found myself with a little bit more free time, and I wanted to get back into working on cars. And I wanted to find another Charger because I had this Charger, and I had two 68 Chargers before that, and that's what I wanted to work on. But I couldn't find anything that was less than 14 grand for a piece of junk, and I couldn't afford it, so I ended up finding this 68 300. And then when I got this car running and driving and pretty much done, I put out some feelers on social media, and I was like, hey, I'm looking for another Chrysler, Plymouth, Dodge thing because I'm more familiar with them. And the lady, her dad owned this car. She got a hold of me, and she's like, my dad's got a 69 Roadrunner, but I don't think he wants to get rid of it because he bought it new in 1968, and it's been in our family ever since. And I was like, that's cool though. That's interesting. But then unfortunately he passed away in 2023. So she got a hold of me again, and she's like, hey, we're trying to go through all my dad's belongings and stuff, and I don't know what to do with this car. Somebody offered me $5 grand for it. A family member did. And I'm like, you've got an all original, unmolested, fully documented, 2-door, big block, 4-speed optioned car. For the love of everything holy, don't sell it for $5 grand. Let me come look at it. So I did, and I told her that. I was like, you could probably get, as it sits, it's been sitting for probably 15 years, maybe more. You could probably get 20 grand for it as it sits. I'm just saying. I'm no expert, but it's what I've seen over the last 4 or 5 years. And I said, let me make this offer to you. Let me take the car out to my shop. I'll get it running. I'll list it. I'll make some videos and I'll sell it. And then I'll just take like 15 or 20% off of it. And I'll use it for my automotive nonprofit. And she's like, cool. But also let me check with my sister and some other family members. And then they decided we don't want to do that. We just want to sell it. And I didn't have the cash to buy it, but she called me one day. She's like, I've got a guy at my house with a trailer and cash. Do you want me to hold this car for you? Even though I didn't have the money for it, I was like, yes, hold it. I don't know what I was gonna do. So I went to a bank and I was like, what can I do here? And then we worked out something. And then that Saturday, it was Friday she called me. The Saturday we went down there, my dad and I picked it up and brought it out to the shop. And originally what I was still gonna do, because it didn't matter how much I took out, how much I borrowed for it, because I knew the sales price was gonna be more than what I could get for it. So I borrowed the money and I said, I'm still going to fix it up and I'm going to list it and I'm going to make videos and then I'll sell it and use the money to fund my nonprofit. But the first video I made of Bill, the 1969 Roadrunner, ended up getting like 50,000 views on YouTube. And it really kind of launched my YouTube, which I don't have a whole lot of people on YouTube, but when you go from 50 to like 250, that's a huge jump. And it was all because of the Roadrunner. And I was like, maybe I should hang on to this guy. And so that's what I did. And then, I mean, there's other stories about the engine getting redone. So then most recently, I was at a car show at the beginning of this year. And I had set up kind of early. My daughter and I went to it. And there's a guy looking at the car. And nobody else was really there yet. So like the car show hadn't started. So I knew he was kind of part of the group that was setting it up. And he was looking at it. And I went up and talked to him. And I said, hey, I said, are you a Roadrunner fan? He's like, is this a local car? And I said, yeah. I said, I bought it from a guy who was passed away a couple years ago and bought it from his daughter. He goes, yeah, I know. I know this car. I drove this car from Detroit to Tennessee in 1970 because my brother moved down here. And I said, was this was your brother's car? He's like, yeah. He goes, I drove this car down. My brother drove his U-Haul and his family down, and I followed him in this car down here in 1970. And I was like, oh, this is crazy. His name was Mike, and it was the brother of the original owner who recognized the car after not seeing it for, like I said, it was parked for 16 years or something like that. And I got to talk to him for a while, which is funny because I was showing him around in the car, and I showed the spare tire. He laughed because it's got one of those like snow tires you would have up in Detroit. And he's like, yep. He's like, that's the same one. He knew everything about this car, and it was the coolest thing. So we got some pictures with him in the car. So it's got to the point where I just can't sell it. I mean, everything's for sale, but it's for sale for a price that's way beyond what it's worth, and nobody's really going to pay that. But it just kind of turned into a thing, and now it's where the lady that I bought it from, you know, it was her father's car. It was part of her life for her whole life. There's a picture of the original owner with the car in like 1970. And if you zoom into the back of it, you can actually see the lady that I bought it from in the back seat of the car. So it's been a part of their life forever. But now, because I'm doing all this stuff to promote my automotive nonprofit, a lot of stuff that I do with the Roadrunner, I put on social media, and I put it on Facebook and TikTok and YouTube and Instagram. And now their whole family can see this new life of the car as it goes into, you know, its second generation. So anyway, pretty cool. Plus, I like the whole automotive genealogy thing and trace cars back to where they're from. This one was super simple because Bill, the original owner, kept all of his documents from it. So we got the original bill of sale from Raynal Plymouth up in Detroit, the same Raynal Dodge that where the Black Ghost was sold in 1970, I think it was. but it was the same dealership up on Chalmers Street in Detroit. Sure thing, 904. Is it because of the crickets? Yeah, I actually, yeah, Terry, there's a General Lee here. I was up at Gilmore up in Michigan, Gilmore Car Museum, and I had messaged them because the car is still in really good shape. I mean, it's got rust on it, right? But it runs, it drives. I drove it up to Michigan and back, 1,200 miles from Tennessee to Michigan and Michigan back to Tennessee. And I had messaged them because I've got all the documentation. It's got a cool story. It's got a it's the family car. It's a road trip car, and I got pictures of it. And I thought it would have been cool to be on display at a car museum somewhere. But I don't really think anybody's that interested in it. Braisteen. Carnivore. Sounds like my current diet. I'm close to Nashville, Nashville statistical area, but I'm out in the country. I'm not anywhere in the jurisdictional boundaries of Nashville. There's a car back here. It's a 1981 Corvette. Somebody mentioned the Roadrunner. I'll showcase the Roadrunner because I also I want to show you some of the documentation that came with it. If you're interested. West Tennessee where? Like Jackson or Memphis or Ripley or Paris? Terry, it's a 69. Wait, well, either one of them. The 300's a 68, but the other two are 69. Oh, man, I love Paris, dude. There was, what county is Paris? The sheriff out there was like, his last name was Blue. I met him when I was out at the Paris Landing one time. He had a big old like hound dog with him or something. Yeah, Henry County, that's right. Henry County. I get that a lot, Michael, but Dale Earnhardt Jr. is in better shape than I am and a lot more successful. I think it's the jacket. So I've got TikTok on one streaming device and I've got YouTube on the other one. I don't have a whole lot of people on YouTube, but I would like to go show you the Roadrunner. And if I don't bore you to death, I would like to go through some of the paperwork that I have with it also. This is what I'm doing tonight, so. Hanging out on TikTok and YouTube and just talking about random stuff. And showcasing some vehicles just to try to get people to support AuxAuto, the automotive nonprofit that provides financial mechanical assistance to people that depend on their transportation for a living. I basically pay the shop bills for people that depend on their vehicles but can't afford to make them safe or operational. For people that depend on their vehicles for work and school and medical appointments and childcare and stuff like that, which is pretty much everybody unless you live in a big city. It gets expensive. We need to do it. Times are tough. So I started a nonprofit that kind of helps people in a specific sector of need in something that I'm interested in. No different than somebody starting a nonprofit plumbing company that does plumbing work for people that can't afford it, or appliance work, or an electrician, or a construction or contractor, or anything else that anybody can do. It's just what I decided to do, and I'm trying to promote that. while I'm listening to some cool, smooth jazz. Yeah, let's go look at the Roadrunner. No, I also think one of the other things I appreciate about this car is that all of the, or most of the lights still work, like the interior lights, the front light, the dash light, the map reader light. Just close that real quick. I wonder if I can just switch this. Momentarily. Ah, look at that. This is 1969 Plymouth Roadrunner 383 4-speed. I'm working on it. Actually, let's just leave this real quick. Yeah, it's the original engine. But this engine is bored 30 thousandths over. It's got new pistons, new rings. The connecting rods were machined. The crankshaft was machined. The cam was ground. But when I put it back together, I put it back together to look like it was untouched. So it's not like a big shiny nugget in the middle of all of this, old natural dirty stuff. Of course, I put a radiator in it because when I drove to Michigan, I was having some cooling issues, so I fixed that before I left. Water pump and radiator. The original one's over here. Um, but for instance, like, I don't know if you can see it that well, but the valley pan that's right there. Obviously, when you buy those, as you guys probably know, they're just shiny metal. But I painted this thing to look like it's old, so it's not shiny. The same thing with the engine block here, because that's all new, and you can kind of tell that should be all black. Because the new one, if you can see it, looks like that. It's shiny. So when I painted this one, I made it look like it was still old and dirty, so everything matched. So it's the original numbers matching engine, but now it's got the original 335 horsepower. And this is kind of a common theme with cars that I work on. When I take the hoses out for the heater core, I replace it with shotgun shells because that's cool. Matter of fact, because I started doing that in the Charger. Because I only had that only needs one outlet, but I had two in it, and the other one was sucking air, so I put a 410 on it. And this one's got 212. It's a 212 gauge heater core. And I I was really debating about this because this was kind of the look that I wasn't going for, where everything's kind of original and you got shiny dude in here. But that's the original radiator for the Roadrunner. And honestly, I just need to get that before, and I can keep the original look. So that may be something I entertain in the future. Yeah, Terry, everything else, the only thing that wasn't original on this car when I bought it was the fan shroud was missing. The redline tires obviously were worn out, replaced. But everything else is original on it, including the typical quarter panel rust, which is on both sides. This one I think is the worst one. Trunk pan solid. Driver's side floor had a hole in it that I patched up, and driver's side passenger floor down here had a spot in it. But I basically just patched them up because eventually, this is a great candidate for a full restoration, and I certainly can't afford that. But I also kind of like it in its natural habitat because when I drive it around, it's just an original road car. Ripped seats and all. 4-speed. I've still got my remnants of probably Mopar. It's bench seats. When I go to car shows with this, I've got these accoutrements, like an old 6-pack of Billy Beer, the original Plymouth Roadrunner hat and button, the original 1969 Plymouth service manual that the original owner bought with the car. This was original to the car, it was in the back of it. Some of this stuff wasn't, but this is all like original pre-1972 vehicle maintenance things and tools. Oh, and this is another cool thing. I found this on eBay. The original Mopar jacket, Plymouth Roadrunner. And the lady I bought it from was telling me that her dad was a huge Roadrunner fan. And then he passed away, so she was going through all of his stuff and she was listening a lot on eBay. And I told her about my automotive nonprofit, I told her about this car, and I bought this jacket from her. And once it came in, I messaged her back and I say, hey, just so you know, this is going to be hanging out in the Roadrunner, and I'm going to drive around and I'm going to promote this automotive nonprofit that I have. I'm using this car. So basically, your dad's jacket is going to be riding with me everywhere I go in this Roadrunner. Yes, sir, Terry. Creative drink. It's got that smell that you know exactly what it is. This is Bill, the original owner. According to his daughter, the lady that I bought it from, this. Appreciate it, Terry. Yep, Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s in a little better shape than I am and a lot more successful. So sorry to disappoint if you came here for that, but while you're here, I might as well tell you about my automotive nonprofit. That's what I'm promoting. Actually, with the lights on, it looks even more fake, doesn't it? Hey, Terry, I got a friend that's trying to sell an old Mopar wagon truck. I may reach out to you to find out who that is because he's asking like, I mean, that thing's worth like 110,000 bucks, and he's having a hard time trying to find somebody to buy it. I might reach out to you and find out who that is that sells those for him. It's a lot of different legs to that one. I appreciate everybody being here. Anybody being here and anybody that subscribes is helping me promote my automotive nonprofit. Again, Christopher, that's the thing. Everything's for sale, but it wouldn't be for sale for the value of it. It would just be, my asking price would be so much that nobody would buy it for that. I mean, and if you did, then yeah, I would consider it. But there's so many different. I mean, if I sold it, I would end up buying another Charger. But so then why sell it if I'm just gonna buy another one? Unless I just like invested all of it. I don't know. Is your is your neighbor? Did he buy the General Lees from the 2005 Dukes of Hazzard? I forgot his name, but I see him all the time on Facebook. Oh. Yeah, that's not who I'm thinking of. Oh, did I? No. Did I? No, I looked up something that Mopar K don't play. I think I meant to, and I never did. Oh, he bought Bose generally. That's the one he's trying to buy back. Boy, that's the worst, man. Can you imagine that? Like, I don't know. I'm not gonna dwell in somebody else's misery, but I just can't imagine like building up something that you've been working towards for so long and then getting divorced and losing it all. I mean, I've been there, but I didn't have all these then. Yeah. When is that, Reckless? Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I have to work that whole weekend and drive a truck around Nashville. Yeah, Terry, that was the most recent one. I know he got. I know he's been divorced before or married before. But yeah, I mean that would suck anyway, no matter what. What year was Uncle Jesse's Ford? Was it a 74? Yeah, but like the actual one that it was supposed to be. I mean, they used 68 Chargers in the Dukes also, but storyline it was a 69. What's up, James? Yo. Yeah, that seems right. That would have been 5 years old by the time the show. Yeah, James, ask a question. As long as it's not algebra, because can't do it. So this car was a me and dad thing from way back in 1997, and then I acquired it from my dad in 2009. It was General Lead in 2007. That's when the quarters got replaced and it got painted. All those aren't decals on there. Those are actually painted. It's kind of why it'd be hard to get rid of that thing because my dad's still around, but it was kind of like our thing though. So, whenever I'm driving in it, I feel like dad's with me. Even though he's still here. Hey, who's your neighbor? I feel like I need to know who they are. They know what they're looking for in these cars. Hi, Morse. Welcome back, sir. Listening to that smooth jazz sound in the shop of AuxAuto. Morse, I don't. Did I ever explain to you why I like listening to smooth jazz? That's crazy, Terry. He seems like he's got a bunch of interesting cars. Like he could have a little garage museum. I don't. I think I was talking about this yesterday because I was on a live for like 4 hours. That's what I'm doing tonight. This is all I'm doing tonight till, oh, it's almost midnight. Um, but one of my favorite channels on Sirius XM satellite radio is channel 148, and it's all of the old radio shows. Where like the detective shows where I walked in my office and she's standing there, her hair is red as the sun setting in the west, and she said, "I need help. What am I going to do for you, young lady?" And it's all that background music, and I don't know. I like. I've got a affinity to the history of communications and radio and entertainment. And back in the 20s, 30s, and 40s, this is what it was. Plus, it's royalty-free background music, so I'm not going to get copyright blocked. Plus, it's just so relaxing. If you've never been to a live jazz club, dude, I mean, talk about high class relaxation. It's great. Terry, I really appreciate you hanging out, and I really appreciate you yapping it up with me. The whole purpose of me being here is to promote my automotive nonprofit, and the fact that you're here and you hung out means a lot to me. And I hope to talk to you again. Like when people like Moore's Garage come in that I see frequently, and Gina and Northeast Ohio and a couple other folks, it's kind of cool. Of course, they got to hear stories that I tell over and over again, but the more I do this, the more I see them, and I just feel like it's I get more of a connection with people that I see more often. So anyway, thanks for being here. Don't let me keep you up, but follow along. Yeah, so Northeast Ohio Dukes, if you're into Dukes of Hazzard, General Lee stuff, you gotta, if you're not following them already, you need to. They literally jump General Lee's. It's the coolest thing ever. That one recently in Somerset where they jumped the, yeah, there you go. Raymond knows there's a lot of people around here that have a bunch of those General Lee cars, and they all know each other. I'm not cool enough to be in that group, but I know them as acquaintances, and I just think what they're doing is awesome. I envy them, and I look up to them. When Northeast Ohio came in here the first time, not yesterday, but the day before, I literally thought it was a spam account. And I told him that. I never thought that he would come into one of my lives. But anyway, I think that they're just awesome. I turned into a little fanboy for a little bit. Velvet. This thing, AuxAuto, according to the IRS, is Auxilium Auto. It's a 501c3 in the state of Tennessee. It's a nonprofit that provides financial mechanical assistance to people that depend on their transportation for getting through life. I basically pay the shop bills for people that can't afford to make their vehicle safe and operational for daily things like getting to work, to getting medical appointments, picking up kids, going to school, or whatever it is. There's a lot of deserving people that are really motivated to be successful, but the only thing holding them back is that $1,200 shop bill for that thing that broke on their car, and they can't afford it. That's where I come in. My love of nonprofit stuff and my automotive stuff kind of joined in 2021, and I started AuxAuto. So I come on here. I don't necessarily ask people for money. I do get donations occasionally, and they've kept me afloat. But what I'm really trying to do is just get subscriptions and followers. And I showcase the projects that I have. I got a Charger and a Roadrunner and some C-bodies, and I got a property out here that I do all my stuff at. I just try to get people to engage. I make stupid videos, and hopefully people like them. And then hopefully one day all the subscriptions and the follows lead to some kind of financial flow, I guess. But that's what I'm doing here. So I don't feel like I don't need to, I could just ask people for money, but I just don't think, I guess I'm just trying to do it like a little differently. All I really need is just people's support. And then I think eventually, it's a slow process. It's a slow process. But that's just what I got going on. I've done 15 of them. I call them AuxAuto Assists. I've done 15 of them so far. I would like to get to the point where I could do one a month. And then while that car is being worked on, I can drive a car to a small town and I can talk about small town things. I got a couple other things that I want to do with it, but that's just kind of where I'm at. Try different things. It's kind of taking a few different routes a couple times. Just trying to find things that work. Derek, yes, this Chrysler 300 is mine. The 69 Charger is mine. The Plymouth Roadrunner is mine. The 81 Corvette is an AuxAuto car. It was donated. Still trying to figure out whether I'm going to buy it, fix it, and sell it. If I'm going to fix it and sell it and give the owner what he wants from it, or if he's just going to donate it outright. Excuse me. Excuse me again. Excuse me a third time. This Ford is a project for AuxAuto where I'm trying to get it running for the family that owns it. They've owned it since it was new, and the people that owned it back when it was new are getting older, and it's been sitting, and I want to get it running and driving so they can experience the truck again as 92-year-olds who where it's been in their life the whole time they've owned it. An absolute unit. Oh, but that's why I come on live. This is what I'm doing tonight. I've been doing it for a while, but this is what I'm doing tonight. And I just try to get people to subscribe and like my automotive nonprofit thing. Occasionally I'll work on some of these and showcase them. I basically capitalize on the fact that people like B-body Mopars, and then I tell them that I got this nonprofit, and then they feel guilty and then subscribe. I kid. I appreciate it, Derek. It is, man. I've been there. I couldn't afford to fix my car. It cost $450 to fix some injectors and something that some squirrels ate some wires in my car at the time. I was a single parent raising a kid on my own and trying to figure out how to pay for $450 to fix a car. So it kind of came out of I feel like it came out of a need. I mean, unless you're in a big city, the only way you really get around is your own vehicle. It's kind of a necessity now. So, and I know it's expensive. The last one I did was a teacher in Nashville. Her car broke down after school and had it hauled to a shop. And I called the shop and I set up her car in AuxAuto's name, talked to them about what was wrong with it, and they ended up fixing it. And then we cover it. We even covered the tow bill on that one, if we can afford it. That's true, Derek. And sometimes, like originally when I started my YouTube channel, I was kind of doing those, here's how you change the oil kind of thing. Here's how you change your brakes. Because everybody can do it. But a lot of people, even though they may know how to do it, they just don't really have the faculty to do it. Nobody really wants to work. Nobody wants to live in a big city and be changing their brake pads in an apartment parking lot, knowing that they live in a place where it's probably not the safest to do. That application of being able to fix it yourself works, but maybe not. You're not always in the environment where it works for you, which is another part of AuxAuto. Eventually, what I want to do is have self-service shop bays. This is something that I came up with a long time ago. It was kind of what AuxAuto was supposed to be, is a place that's set up like a storage unit, but the units are a lot bigger and they could handle a car lift, and they're outfitted with compressed air. And you can either rent them out by the month, or you can rent them out by the hour. So if you have a project car and you live in a city or you live in an apartment, you have a place where you can leave your car and you can work on it and you can make videos of it or whatever. And or if you just need to rent a bay for a couple of hours to change your brakes out, you got a safe place to do it. That's it's a long-term goal. Yeah, RC, that was one of the things I was talking about earlier. Because back when I was young, you buy a battery for a 1990 Suburban for $56. Now replacing a battery costs. The last time I did one as AuxAuto, it was $350, and it's just not a. For some people, that'll set you back for 2 weeks. No, Robert, it's a 69, very close. 70 had the grill that wrapped around the front. 69's got that little thing in the middle there. But yeah, I've got what I'm doing now with AuxAuto, the automotive nonprofit that provides financial mechanical assistance to people that depend on their transportation for getting through life. I pay the shop bills for people that can't afford to make their vehicles safe or operational. That's kind of where I'm focused on now because it seems to be the most practical, based on financially practical and I guess planning wise. And then if and when, hopefully it's something that I can do and expand into all there's 2 or 3 other avenues of AuxAuto that I want to explore. But this is kind of where I am. I got to start somewhere. This is my first rung on the ladder. The truck's not mine, but it's a '79 Ford F-150. Speaking of my automotive nonprofit, that's what that is. It's not necessarily a necessity because I've done a couple of these. I got a 64 and a half Mustang running after it sat for about 16 or 17 years for a couple that are a friend of my parents. The lady bought it new in like '74. It was her first car she bought for $1,500. But I got that running, and basically I got it running and driving, and they basically made a donation to AuxAuto. This one's kind of similar. The owners have owned this truck since it was new, and now they're in their 90s. And it caught fire about 6 years ago, and it sat. I happened to come across it, talked to the owner, or the lady that is the curator of it, and she told me the story of it, and I was like, and honestly, it doesn't look that bad. She's like, if I could just find somebody to get it running, that would be awesome. And I was like, well, you know what I do? And I told her about this thing. That's how it ended up here. And tomorrow, hopefully, I'm going to get a parts truck that I can use to get it running. So don't go on Facebook Marketplace and go buy it because that's the one I need. Heck yeah, Derek. The Nashville Network is the reason that I got into, not the reason, but it's one of the biggest reasons I got into car stuff when I was a young chap. So I got to represent them. Then it turned into the National Network, and then it turned into Sinclair Broadcasting, and then like Gaylord Entertainment or something, and then I don't even know if it exists anymore.